Happy Tuesday and welcome to this month's Tech Talk. I'm your host, Pratik Patel, a technology consultant with Ingram Micro. Today we'll be discussing next-gen storage, data protection, and data management solutions. Unfortunately, that was a really long title, so I came up with storage and data management solutions, but I think you get the drift. So let me stop sharing and kind of start the topic for today. Really, before we kind of dive in, I would like to introduce two of my teammates. First, we have Dan Irick, who is a new member of our team. Dan, could you tell us about yourself and your role?
Sure thing. Thanks, Pratik. So, hey, everyone. Like Pratik said, my name is Dan Irick. I am probably about 3 weeks into this role on the Lenovo team. I come from within Ingram Micro, from our VMware division, where I spent about 4.5 years as a field account rep covering the central US for VMware. I'll be covering the entire US from a Lenovo ISG perspective and working with partners to help them with their Lenovo server business going forward. So I'm just getting ramped up, but look forward to hopefully talking to a lot of you in the future. And for any partners that will be at Lenovo's Accelerate conference next week in North Carolina, I will be there with Pratik. So perhaps we could spend some time there. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, thank you, Dan. Then we have Tony Williams. Among everything he does, he's our storage specialist. So Tony, can you tell us about how you help channel partners every day?
Absolutely. Thanks, Pratik. Hello, everyone. My name is Tony Williams. I'm a solution sales specialist on our Lenovo server team here at Ingram. I've been with the team for a little over a year, covering our public sector, retail, and our enterprise accounts. And ultimately, we're here to help out with any of your day-to-day transactional items. So we could take things like deal registrations off your plate, help with pricing, lead times, ETAs, or any general questions that you might have throughout the process. I'm also going to be your point of contact for any storage specific deals that you have. So please feel free to involve me in any storage opportunities that you have, and I'll make sure it gets in the right hands and that we're staying as competitive as possible. I also today wanted to provide a couple of quick storage updates. So our backend rebate has been extended into this quarter. So that's going to be 8% on any storage that ships out this quarter on the back end. And in addition to that, you're going to be receiving an 8x multiplier towards your tier for any storage deals that you close. So let's say you close 10,000 in storage, it's going to count as 80,000 in your revenue toward your ISG tier, which is awesome. If you have any server and storage deals that are bundled with Veeam, we have some discounts in place for both the software and hardware there. So make sure to bring that up with any Veeam opportunities that you have. And it's also worth noting that there's now some DE2000 options in our Lenovo Express program. So if you need some storage to ship out quickly, just know that you have that option as well. But all around, it's just a great time to self-storage with Lenovo. So please feel free to reach out with any questions or opportunities, and our team's happy to help.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, gentlemen. Everyone, I put their contact info in the chat, and just like Tony said, it's an awesome time to be able to sell storage. So, definitely leverage him and the rest of the team for any of your storage opportunities that you have. Now let's get to the business at hand. To no one's surprise, data is everywhere around us, and effectively managing it is essentially, really essential for the success of any business. From small startups to large corporations, every customer needs to have a robust and reliable storage solution in place to handle, that really ever increasing data demand. If you look at the top companies in the world, such as Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, they all kind of say the same thing. They're not a product company, but a data company first. Similarly, most businesses believe that data has become one of their, most valuable assets in today's digital age, and they themselves have become increasingly reliant on their data center ecosystem to store, manage, and protect their critical resources. However, with the exponential growth of data, it's really become imperative for businesses to have a robust backup and recovery strategy to ensure that their data is secure and available at all times. And since I'm always looking for ways to make solution selling easier for my channel partners and VARs, we have some amazing guests today joining us from Lenovo and Veeam that can show us how to do that. First, we have Ruben Luna, a director of partner sales and business development with Veeam. Thank you for joining us, Ruben. Could you tell us a little bit about your role and yourself? And, also we would kind of love to hear your thoughts on, what you've actually seen how the partner landscape has changed over the years.
Yeah, thank you, Pratik, and good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Appreciate Pratik you having me and the warm welcome and introduction. And I'll first share in terms of the landscape, right? And as to your question, I'll say this. I've never been more excited to be part of the channel than right now, right? In my 15 plus years working in the channel, I've been through the ups and downs and definitely a lot of headwinds out there in the macro environment. I've held a number of a variety of roles from operations to global account management to my current role at Veeam, which is driving our strategy and business development for our distribution and alliance business. And from my view, Pratik, I find it so exciting to see the amount of innovation that's happening in the ecosystem right now. And as I mentioned, and we all see the challenges, on multiple fronts, serious headwinds. But as they say, the future belongs to the fast. And you're either going to innovate and push through those or get left behind. And that's one of the things I love working about Veeam. Love working at Veeam is we're constantly pushing that innovation and improving our products and programs, and really looking forward to sharing that with the audience today. A couple of themes that I would touch on of what we're seeing in the market, Pratik, is that we're seeing a strong shift towards managed services and subscription, and that's really accelerating that reoccurring revenue driver. And that's really, in response to what I'm sure many of you are hearing from your customers today, which is moving that IT from a CapEx to OpEx, right? And we're seeing that. And in addition to that, we're also seeing a lot more collaboration within the ecosystem. And partners are recognizing that they can't do it alone, right? They have to look to their peers to strengthen their offerings. And the same's happening with vendors, right? And we definitely see that at Veeam. We recognize that Veeam is part of an integrated solution, right? That's strengthened by our relationship with partners like Lenovo and Ingram, right? Ingram plays a key role in our go-to-market strategy as an aggregator, helping partners, do things like this, like hosting, these types of conversations to help drive that enablement, and having all the resources you have on team, like Tony and Dan, right? And really, our goal is to help reduce that time to revenue. And ultimately, we're all here to better service our customers, work together, so we could deliver a more holistic solution to the customer. And that's why I'm excited to talk to the audience today on how we can do that.
Thank you, Ruben. My partners love the word recurring revenue, so I'm glad you talked about that. That's perfect. Next, we have Jane Ceroky, and Alliance Sales Manager with Veeam. If you've been with Lenovo for some time, that name should sound familiar to you. Great to have you here, Jane. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is at Veeam? Also, could you share some insights about, how you see data protection and security, how they really become important issues for businesses every day?
Sure. Thanks, Pratik, and thank you for the nice welcome. And hello to everybody out there in Partnerland. Yes, I am a Lenovo Alliance Manager here supporting the Lenovo relationship in the US on the East Coast, east of the Mississippi. I have a counterpart some of you may have worked with. Her name is Tina No, and she supports everything west of the Mississippi. And we are dedicated to Lenovo. So we're tasked with driving joint solutions, promotions, and doing business development to sell more solutions together with Veeam and Lenovo. So Pratik, too, to answer your question on what's happening on the market. I mean, you mentioned it in the beginning of the call, that, or the webinar, that data is everywhere. And because data is everywhere in a distributed fashion, and that's a fact, whether you're at the edge, the cloud, with your handheld device, up and back into the data center, it's everywhere, which means there's more opportunities for bad actors to be able to gain access to your data. And the solutions that Veeam can offer on a platform as solid and reliable and tightly integrated with Veeam as Lenovo is, we really provide the customers their best solution on how to protect specifically against ransomware, but their data in general, so that they can use it productively to make critical business decisions and just help with overall business continuity.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, Jane. And then we have Mark Clayton, a principal solution architect with Lenovo. Happy to have you join us again, Mark.
Thanks.
Could you, yep. Can you, just in case if anyone in the audience isn't familiar with you or your work, could you share a little bit about your role at Lenovo? We'd also, be really interested in hearing your thoughts on how storage and data management have really become a more important of a topic or a discussion point for channel partners.
Sure. So about me first, my name is Mark Clayton. I'm one of the principal architects for the data management group for Lenovo, covering North America. And as far as the data being a hot topic, I think it's kind of the first topic that we're hearing about now. I mean, it's literally phones blowing up, wanting to have this topic. And it's really the ingest of data that everybody is seeing is just overwhelming everyone. And it's not just from a manageability standpoint, but security is top of mind. When everybody's talking about, from like Jane mentioned, from edge to core to cloud, we even here at Lenovo can take that a step further with our portfolio, and with the Moto line, we can actually go from pocket to edge to core to cloud. You know what I mean? So it's even more endpoints that we have to worry about, and talk to customers about. So it's a huge topic, and what's really great about working with Veeam and that partnership is the fact that whether it's HCI, several flavors of HCI, whether it's primary storage, secondary storage, backup targets, whether it's endpoints, whether it's bare metal servers, Veeam has an answer for all of that for us, and so we can really be a one-stop shop solution for the customer to not only for day-to-day data management, but also security.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, Mark. Now let's go over some logistics before we begin. First, as mentioned earlier, this event is being recorded, so please turn off your camera if you don't want to be recorded. Also, please ensure your microphone is muted to minimize any background noise. I definitely hate chewing noises in the background, so definitely, if you could help, that'd be great. Next, we'll share the recording once it's posted on YouTube. And lastly, please feel free to share any questions or comments by typing them into the chat. To kick things off this time, I thought, let's start with a quick exercise. What is the first word that comes to mind when you think of Veeam? For me, it's the word reliable. What do you think? If you could add something into the chat, I'd appreciate it. So now, let's get the conversation started. Mark, it's been a while since, I've had you on this webinar. So if you could, start by telling us about the updated, Lenovo storage portfolio, any kind of changes that you've seen over the past year or so, and how is it really designed to address the evolving needs of the customer in today's data-driven world that, Jane and Ruben alluded to?
Sure. So I can touch a little bit on the storage updates. There have been two recent updates of not only from a DE product line, the two main enterprise product lines that we have, right? So one of them would be a SAN only product line, which is the DE platform. And then there's a unified product line called DM. And those are the two main enterprise ones that we would lead with. And then from there, we have other offerings, like I mentioned, several flavors of HCI and some other stuff. So as far as updates go, DE, we recently released two new NVMe high performance flash arrays, right? We have an entry level and a higher level platform, and those are going to those have been actually taken off when it comes to AI ML platforms and anything analytics related, anything that's got a high performance and the financial vertical that they're really taking off. And they come with 2x the performance of the previous models right out the gate. So everybody's been really enjoying the performance of those. And as far as DM goes, the latest updates to ONTAP, which for those that don't know it's the number1 downloaded storage operating system on the globe. It's been around over 31 years. And recently there's version 9.12 that was just released, And with that comes not only 30% better storage efficiencies, but also better performance, anti-ransomware protection, and so forth. So there's a whole litany of updates that come within that software that if anybody wants to get on another call, I'll be more than happy to deep dive into that. So if that's kind of it right now from a storage perspective. There's some things coming down the pipe, say within the next 3 months on the DM line. So stay tuned for that. We'll get on another call later, and I'll let you know some other things. And then if anybody happens to be at Veeam next month, I will definitely be there working the booth. And and if you have any questions, come by. I'll be glad to tell you whatever you want to know face to face. So outside of the storage part, there's been a lot of other things within the portfolio, right? So when you can imagine when you're a $70 billion global company and have all the partnerships that we have with different vendors, we've had updates to not only our server lines, latest Sapphire Rapids, CPUs, latest NVIDIA GPUs. We've had now a new partnership with WEC.io for high performance NAS, right? So there's just updates all over the place. So a really good place to look at. Not only check out Lenovo.com for all that kind of stuff, but specifically for storage stuff, we have LenovoStorageCentral.com, and you can check that out, and that will give you all the latest updates as well.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, Mark. So now shifting gears a little bit here, Ruben, as Veeam competes in this crowded backup and recovery market, I believe it'd be beneficial for my channel partners to really understand what makes Veeam different from other vendors, and really how does this really help them protect and manage their data more effectively.
Yeah, great question, Pratik. And I first have to say, you didn't tell me this is going to be on YouTube. I would have, really combed my hair if you're going to record it and stuff. So I'll have to thank you later for that. No, all kidding aside, in our space, it's the competition is fierce, right? As you mentioned, but that's what you'd expect in a category with so much opportunity. So it should be a signal for many of you out there, right? There's a growing opportunity in terms of the need. We've talked a lot about data and the exponential growth that's happening for customers to have to manage it, the variety of workloads they're needing to manage across an expanding IT infrastructure environment, both on premise and in the cloud. And there are a number of things that I could share with the audience in terms of what makes Veeam different. But first I would just call out a couple of things, just looking at the numbers. And it's very timely that you asked me this question around the differentiator, because we were just recognized as #1 by IDC this week in our space in data replication for FY22. So we're really proud of that. We've been continuing to drive and grow our market share, and we've been growing faster at the market rate, and we grew faster than all the other top vendors in our category. So let me ask the audience, why would you choose anything but the top product in the industry to put forth in front of your customer? But let's take a step back, a little bit and talk a little bit about, well, how did we get there? What makes us different? What sets us apart? Well, it really starts with our commitment to innovation, right? And delivering a product. And I heard a lot of the attributes that people were using to describe Veeam. What comes to mind, the three that we pride ourselves on are being simple. The product, just works. It's flexible and reliable. You can count on it. You can count on making sure that it's something that you can feel confident putting in front of your customers. And our customers love the product, and it comes through in our NPS score, right, which is 82. Last time we checked with our customers in terms of their propensity to recommend Veeam, and it's better than some of the most well-known brands in the industry. You mentioned a few, Pratik, earlier in the call, right, in terms of Tesla and Starbucks. Right. So again, you can feel confident putting Veeam in front of your customers. It's a product that is rock solid. It's #1 in the market. And just to go back in terms of your question around, how can you use Veeam to manage your data more efficiently? And really the one thing that definitely I want to share with the audience that may not come immediately to mind, because you may be thinking immediately on the backup space, but think about where I would say that where Veeam shines is on the recovery of the data. In fact, a recent IDC study showed that Veeam customers see 5 times reduction in restore times after implementing Veeam. And we've pioneered instant recovery from a virtualized space. We continue to ensure that our customers can meet their recovery SLAs and really ensure that when they bring the data back, that it's clean and free of malware. So, from a product standpoint, we really shine at recovery space. Now, to take a different perspective in terms of responding to your question, looking at it from a partner program perspective, a couple of things that I would share with the audience is, number one, we pride ourselves on being, 100%, through the channel. So we're completely channel centric. We don't take deals direct. And our program is designed to reward you regardless of how you choose to consume Veeam. So whether that's selling it through an integrated solution with Lenovo or incorporating Veeam as a managed service practice, we're going to give you that flexibility to incorporate it in your business model as best you see fit, right? And so that really is something that we pride ourselves on. And I would encourage, the audience to really take a look at the Veeam and Lenovo solutions and start asking the question earlier in the sales process, right? And really what that's going to enable you to do is go deeper and wider within your accounts, as well as maximize that opportunity. And so, certainly is very compelling and something to get excited about.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you. So Jane, building on those points, can you highlight some of the key features of Veeam backup and replication platform that have really changed how businesses back up, recover, and manage their data?
Down here.
Sorry, I was brilliant right now. I meant to unmute as I thought it was getting to be time, and I didn't. But to kind of call upon what Ruben was saying, and based on your question, Pratik, I'd like to think that we've kind of shifted where Veeam is innovated, where our customers have told us where we want to go. So as Ruben had mentioned, the research and development to not just make Veeam a powerful product from a recovery standpoint and a protection standpoint, but also as an easy to use solution that really does differentiate us from some of the key competitors that we compete with, that we have now beat out as the #1 worldwide market leader in the backup and recovery space. So we're very, very proud of that. And just to put a plug in for Lenovo here, to also keep on that theme of speed of recovery, if we partner with the DE storage device, Think System storage device from Lenovo, which has also been proven as also shown by IDC as the #1 low-end storage platform in the U.S. It's an unbeatable combination to protect business continuity. But we're really proud of what was released too in version 12. And the first thing that comes to mind is trusted immutability. And that way you can ensure that your backups will be clean and not been changed with enterprise grade immutability, whether it's on-premise from an object perspective, block file storage, back into the cloud. We really feel I'm sorry, Mark. I really we're really very excited about being able to expand our footprint even further into the enterprise market because of our immutability flexibility. If you really think about it, we keep businesses running and provide organizations the resiliency, through this broad platform that we offer in a simple, easy way to use, with data security, data recovery, and data freedom, whether it's in a hybrid cloud, on a physical server, in VMs in the cloud, on tape, what have you. That brings me to a second point on differentiation, is that we are truly a software-defined product. So with some of our competitors, you have hardware lock-ins. There's certain other costs associated with turning on different types of feature sets within their backup capabilities. With Veeam, you get it all. And we're really proud of being able to provide secure backups without locking customers in on proprietary file systems or hardware platforms. It brings us to another point, that we are hybrid cloud optimized. There's a recent IT trends report that I had read in some of the trainings that we've had with our V12 launch, that 67% of production workloads are now in the cloud, and that's huge. And the research and development and the solutions that we have done with Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and AWS, which are the leading ones, not to mention some of the exciting announcements we'll be talking about with Lenovo in another month or so. But the ability to be able to address hybrid cloud environments and cloud environments directly, and the optimization that we have with our agents that are part of Veeam backup and replication can really give customers the flexibility they're looking for. We've also beefed up our cyber resiliency. I know I think I have a question a little bit later on regarding that, so I won't go into it right now. But between our immutability, software-defined nature, hybrid cloud optimization, and security features, we are. There's a reason why we're #1 worldwide, and very proud of it.
Perfect, Jane. So then, if I want to kind of build on something that Ruben kind of talked about with the partner program, I was wondering if you could kind of describe, some of the benefits of Veeam's, partner program, and also probably more interesting to my partners are really, is there an opportunity for them to, double dip on the channel partner program by like taking advantage of both Lenovo and Veeam's programs?
Sure. So many of you know that if you are already a partner of Veeam's, that Veeam rewards not just based on revenue levels, but also the investment that you make in both your sales teams and your technical teams. So, we offer a variety of benefits based on how many of those certifications that you receive. But to Pratik's point, our local team here, as well as Lenovo, offer both revenue credit to our mutual partners selling Veeam on what we call Lenovo paper, or with Lenovo SKUs, or through Lenovo with a Lenovo solution, and we also count it towards VIR rebates and your metal status with Veeam. So it really, gives the partner community a sense that this really is a truly integrated, not just from a technology standpoint, integrated relationship between Lenovo and Veeam, but also from a partner perspective, because we lead with partners, and we know how important the partner community is for Lenovo as well, for their channel first motto. So, that's really a huge opportunity to, especially as Lenovo has some strong messages in the Kubernetes field, and you can work with Lenovo in positioning our Cast and K10 backup and finding opportunities for Salesforce or in an SAP HANA architecture where we've got a reference architecture. Those are the types of things that you can think about as you run into in your customer base on, hey, Lenovo and Veeam can help me out here, and I'll be rewarded by both companies to do so.
Perfect. Thank you. So Ruben, from what I've heard so far, I understand that, the partnership between Veeam and Lenovo is really critical to delivering that, that modern data protection solution. So then how does this partnership really enable channel partners to deliver that holistic approach that leverages on-prem and cloud? I know you kind of spoke to it already, but, specifically.
Yeah, I'd be happy to expand on that. And, I definitely would agree with Jane and Mark that it's a winning combination, right? And what I see where we intersect, right, is having that shared vision that the future is, we've mentioned it several times, it's a hybrid cloud environment, and customers need a more efficient way to protect their data, as Mark said, right, from the pocket to the edge to the core to the cloud. That data sprawl is definitely happening. And really, coming together, what it allows partners to do is to change the conversation, right? And instead of leading with a point product conversation, now you're beginning to sell on that business outcome. And that's what we've been talking about, on this call is driving towards those business outcomes. It's not necessarily selling just the storage on itself, or just from a Veeam standpoint, talking about backup, right? And it's about, when we look at, we've made mention a lot about modern data protection, and even that you can begin to look at what's top of mind for customers, in that when we say modern data protection, and really, what comes to mind, you go back to those business outcomes, because what's top of mind for them is, you need to ensure that the backup is integrated in the cybersecurity plan, right? So we're trying to deliver on that cyber resiliency and ensure that regardless of the workload, whether that's virtual, SaaS, physical, cloud, you can manage it securely. And that's what you're able to deliver with the Veeam platform and with Lenovo. It's enabling customers to have the data freedom to protect all their data any way and anywhere they need to. And we've talked about a number of ways in which we're helping them do that. There's a number of very compelling use cases that we're able to come together to help solve those problems, whether that is around, protecting your critical SaaS workloads like Microsoft Office 365, helping with that shift of the workloads from on-prem to the cloud, then back to on-prem, or just ensuring that you have that end-to-end cyber resiliency plan in place. Where we can help you is just simplifying that environment, looking to take costs out of the model, increase that ROI for your customers. And one specific example, Pratik, right, on how we can drive that efficiency is with Veeam One, our product. So when you look at our platform, right, we talk a lot about the backup piece, but there's other components of the platform that really give you that holistic solution. And one of those is Veeam One. And that tool is going to allow you to see it through that single pane of glass, right? So, whether those workloads are on-prem or in the cloud, not only is it going to give you that monitoring capability, but also the analytics to manage that effectively. So, again, back to your question, right? Partners should really capitalize on the strength of those solutions, empower your sales teams to sell the full portfolio. And and as I mentioned earlier, right, the power of that is you begin to engage new stakeholders at your account, and having the backup conversation, that's going to really allow you to go deeper and wider within your account. And you also need to think about it from the opposite side, that if you're not having the backup conversation, there's a chance that someone else is, right? And so it's a good competitive differentiator. Block out the competition, make sure you're not leaving anything on the table.
Perfect. Mark, let me turn to you. I often get this same question from my channel partners when discussing these types of solutions. And the question really goes as, how does Lenovo's ThinkSystem DE and DM series that we talked about, address the challenge of managing and protecting large volumes of data? And how does Veeam really fit into that picture?
Sure. So when it comes to the overall protecting of the data, bar none, the NetApp snapshot, ONTAP snapshots have been, win awards year after year for a reason, right? And there, when it comes to the data security and protection of it, not only Veeam's 3-2-1-1-0 rule, but also just multiple tiers of being able to back up that data. And the snapshots are always number one. Those are your first restore points. And then from there, we can replicate it to another site, via Snap Mirror, Snap Vault, methodologies. But when it comes to the protection and how Veeam integrates with it, it really is a very cohesive relationship there, because if we are hosting VMs, for example, right, and instead of Veeam working directly with vSphere to take a snapshot of a VM, for example, and there's a situation that can occur with other softwares that like a VM stun, right, where while the VM is being backed up, it's kind of in a pause state, right? And sometimes that might be a couple seconds, sometimes it could be a couple minutes. It just depends on how the activity on that VM. But with us, the snapshots are instantaneous, right? As well as restores. So instead of Veeam having to talk to vSphere to back up these VMs, we can take the backups on the DM, and then Veeam simply grabs those blocks off of the DM, integrating directly with ONTAP, and then safely grab those blocks and copy them over to the DE. And then from there, add their second layer of protection on top of that data with the immutability functionality of Veeam, right? Because once we've taken that data out from underneath the ONTAP umbrella, we need to do something with it again to protect it, right? And then that's where Veeam can come in and help us with that. And with DE being the perfect backup target, we have Veeam laying down on top of it with the immutability functionality. And then from there, we can write it off to wherever you want, in an S3 target in the cloud or whatever, and still keep it safe. But another way that Veeam integrates with ONTAP data is with your DRO, right? The Disaster Recovery Orchestrator. So if talking about going from core to or from primary data center to secondary data center, now you have that capability of data being replicated between DMs, but then also the orchestration of failover back and forth between the two sites, and Veeam can help with that and make sure that the consistency of the data from both sites, and make sure that you can come up as quick as possible. Yeah. So and also one last thing is, for those that aren't aware, the DM and the DE. Congratulations, Jane, on you guys being number one for IDC recently. But we are also number one by
I'm
IDC.
sorry I stole your thunder.
No, it's all good. So the DE is what she was referring to is number one globally for sub 25K and below, so / entry level storage, right? And then for between DM and DE, number 5 globally, right? So we a lot of people don't realize we've been doing data center storage for about 7 years now, and still on a day-to-day basis. When we talk to customers and partners, they say, "Didn't realize you did this," But here we are now. It's taking a little time for us to get there, but now the more the word comes out, the more we're as soon as we pick up the phone, people are like, "I want to talk to you about your storage that I just found out about." So, bottom line, we just came from our sales kickoff last week, and you would have thought it was nothing but a storage show. I mean, everything was just storage, and that's what everybody was talking about. So it really is, in this day and age of all the data that we're gathering, trying to protect and keep from ransomware, we need to that's really the first conversation, is your customers' data, right? Because it's if that data goes away, particularly with us all being remote and so forth, and right now, for the last couple of years, it's kind of it's the first thing people want to attack. I love hearing people say, "Oh, we're just going to buy, ransomware insurance. We're good. We don't need anything." Well, if they don't realize the steps that need to be taken from that insurance company if your environment is not and set up in a certain way and under certain criteria, you're not getting that policy, and it's actually getting more and more stringent. So it's a really strong conversation to have with customers, and just help them, not only get more value out of their data, work more efficiently, and then grow their business, and that's what we're trying to all accomplish here.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, Mark. I think this would be a really great segue to kind of, jump into like a quick demo to really see how the integration, how Lenovo, the ONTAP operating system works, and how the, backup and recovery occurs. So let's do a quick demo. I know we're almost running out of time here, but, I think this would be good to kind of, put something in your mind that shows you how it actually works together. Give me 1 second. So whenever you log into the storage manager for the ONTAP operating system, you'll jump right into this dashboard. Nice quick way to see how the health of your system is going. But I think we could probably spend the rest of the time talking about just what's on the screen. But let me jump to the snapshot feature, because it's really this feature that can be leveraged with the Veeam backup and replication platform to really optimize the data protection. If I were to go in here, and similar to what Mark kind of talked about, snapshots, if you think of them as snapshots in time, they're almost instantaneous, too quick to even, if you blink, you probably would miss the amount of time it takes to actually get a snapshot done. The story I always give is basically, you could think of it as two ways of getting a snapshot. One is when you actually create the volume itself, you could actually enable it that way, or you can actually do ad hoc. Ad hoc is probably the easiest way to show how a snapshot can be done. I can just jump in here. I can say, okay, I want to add, and then what I want to do is basically say, sorry, not a good typer or not a good imagination, but we'll call it demo just so we can kind of separate it out from different things. There you go. The green tells me the snapshot's already done, and I see the snapshot. So, the way, if you think about it from that point of view, pretty instantaneous. It's almost easy and fun to create a snapshot. My sense of fun is a little different than everybody else, but really that's only like half the story, because customers rarely rely just on store snapshots alone for data protection. This is how Veeam can really play that critical role in delivering a complete data protection solution. So let me jump to the Lenovo platform, to the Veeam platform now. So my goal here is really, with the Veeam to really show you how easy it is to use and how easy it is to integrate with Lenovo. And to do that, I'm going to create a backup job and show you how easy it is. And I'll kind of point out things along the way. I can just go in here, create a backup job. I have different options, but I'm just going to do a plain and simple a VM virtual machine one. No, I can rename it whatever I want. Let's do test, something different. Move it along, and then now I need to add my virtual machine. I actually have, I actually have Veeam Demo Tiny as my demo system here. I can actually click on next. Here is where the backup proxy and additional retention policies that can be set here. But really, the advanced is the key function here.
Make sure they did everything correctly when I went and bought my lawnmower. Everything. So I
And
bought
then
my
basically,
lawnmower, and then I
if we
bought
were
like, a
to,
ladder.
Okay.
yeah, so basically, here's where everything really comes together. We, with this enable backup from storage snapshots, it's really, that's really the key to everything here. Normally what Veeam does is that it asks the hypervisor to really take a snapshot of that virtual machine and just use that snapshot to build a backup. And that works perfectly fine. However, it does have some drawbacks. For one, it has an impact on the production environment, because as Mark kind of alluded to, the hypervisor really freezes that virtual machine to take that snapshot. For this reason, I believe really there is a better way. Really, it's to really use the storage devices such as the Lenovo DE and DM series that already have the snapshot capability built in. And as we just saw with the snapshot demo, creating snapshots is fast and easy. Plus, it'll actually have less of an impact than asking the hypervisor to do it. So here, we make sure that, it's really enabled so that Veeam can use the storage snapshots as opposed to the hypervisor snapshots, which will greatly increase performance and reduce the impact on production environments. Pretty much in line with what Mark kind of mentioned previously. So let's move on to the next part here. And I'm just going to click through the next here. Here is where I can actually have it scheduled so I can do an automated death. 10 p.m. sounds good. I'm going to apply it. And here is where it's going to tell me exactly what the summary is really, of what we've done. I'm going to click that. Okay, I want the job to start as soon as I press the finish button. Here it's going to be starting. And you'll see some things here. And while that's going on, this will take about 30 seconds to a minute, just so that we're on the same page. It's okay that we're doing a backup here, and we're also using our storage snapshots as well. The plain fact is that we've got this great integration between Lenovo and Veeam, so why not take advantage of that famous 3-2-1 backup rule, which states that there should be 3 copies of data, 2 on 2 different media, and 1 copy being off-site. Okay, still going, but unfortunately, I wanted to kind of cut the demo short. But if you'd like to see the complete demonstration of the backup and restore capabilities, because like Ruben said, backup is great, restore is even better. That's actually where you get to see so much more functionality, so much more customization that's possible. So definitely, please reach out to me, and I'm always happy to do a demo. Ask anyone. I love doing these demos. So now let me stop sharing my screen, and we'll kind of jump to the the last few questions here. And really, what I want to say is basically the last question I have really is, as technologists, how do you see the backup and recovery market really evolving over the next 5 to 10 years? I'd love to hear from all 3 of you. Mark, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Well, I kind of spilled it a little on my last question, but I've been doing backup over 25 years now, right? And it was interesting that when I first started my career, I started off, being a tape jockey, replacing LTO tapes and so forth. Then it involved a little, but at the end of the day, we were still the team that was in the back room. We were the last line item on an Excel spreadsheet that people just had to throw money at just because for compliancy reasons. What's kind of cool over the last 5+ years is now that people have actually understood that there's value in all that stuff we've been collecting all these years, we kind of gotten a second seat at the table, and we're kind of the cool kids now because we actually know where the data is, and how it's protected and how it's backed up, so we're bringing more value than just a line item, like I mentioned earlier. So I think that's one of the cool things, and with all the integrations that are happening, like Jane mentioned with Kubernetes and everything else, and trying to be on the forefront, it's kind of hard to stay on the cutting edge with customers and kind of keep up to that pace, right? But with all the AI ML stuff and Kubernetes and everything else, we're there. We're keeping up, and it's not just selling a box anymore to anybody, right? It's not just selling a tape drive or whatever. We're having to come together and really understand these solutions and have deep conversations with the customer and really help them, guide the path of where they're trying to be, and knowing that we have those offerings to help get them there successfully. That's what kind of makes this day-to-day pretty cool.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mark. Jane, how about you?
So I would agree with Mark. We probably were viewed as the caboose of the train, and everybody didn't want to go to the end of the train in the caboose. But now we're like the bar car where all the cool kids are hanging out. And I do believe that we will still see more distribution across the IT landscape as, you know, data centers bleed out and software as a solution, platforms continue to evolve. Obviously, we've got our Office 365, you know, as a standalone product. We just launched Salesforce at the end of last year, all under that shared responsibility model that customers have to protect their data. So I would encourage you that for the partners out there, even if you ask the question, how are you backing up your data today? And they might mention one of our competitors in the data center, you can ask about, well, how are you using Kubernetes in your business and how are you backing that up? Or does your organization use Salesforce? These are ways that you can kind of flank the competitors to be able to get in with Lenovo and Veeam and protect those environments, because those are really the data gold mines that customers really need to make their business decisions and need to have for business continuity.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you, Jane. Ruben, I'll let you have the final word on this.
Yeah, Mark, thanks, Pratik, and Mark and Jane, you know, nailed it right. And I look at it very similar in the point that, you know, the backup and recovery space is becoming more of a critical function for organizations as the needs grow and evolve. The workloads are changing, and that's where, you know, Veeam and Lenovo will continue to innovate and work together to ensure that we have that comprehensive solution. The other thing that I would share with the audience in terms of the future is, you know, it's less of backup and recovery being a standalone conversation and being incorporated more into that mission critical cyber resiliency plan, right? And those are the areas of the IT budget that aren't being compromised. Those are the areas that are mission critical to Jane's point, ensuring that continuity is happening and the business is able to operate. The last thing that I would share that stands out as a disruptor is around AI. Mark mentioned that as well. I definitely see that as being a piece as we look to extract more out of the backups in terms of the value of that, and that's something that Veeam is a firm believer on as well. You know, it's not just looking at as a backup event, but also the restore and what you do with the backup. And I definitely see AI as being a disruptor in the capabilities that are to come. But having said all that, I'm definitely confident that wherever the market moves, Pratik, that Lenovo and Veeam are going to continue to innovate, and they're going to be there ready to work with our partners, with Ingram, to solve our evolving customer needs.
Perfect. Thank you, Ruben. So as our sessions draw to a close, first I wanted to introduce Kelsey Jones, who will tell us, you know, about the follow-up activities she'll be leading.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. So I'm just going to quickly introduce myself. I'm a solution sales specialist too. I've been on the Lenovo ISG team a little over a year now, but I do have about 8 years of sales experience. My job duties are answering emails and quoting out of the Lenovo servers box. I cover Cisco and the networking and security business unit. I also do market development, so I set up cadence calls and work with partners to strategize their next steps with what, you know, Lenovo and Ingram has to offer. You'll probably recognize my name just from some of the follow-ups emails that we've sent in the past couple months, but pretty much it's just so we can help you, and then, you know, so we can get Pratik to set up a meeting and bring people on the call that would be able to help you and go from there. But again, thanks. My name's Kelsey Jones. Just keep a lookout for the email. We'll probably send one next week, and then I'll pass it back to Pratik. Perfect.
Yep. Thank you, Kelsey. I put a link to the May Tech Talk and, you know, May Lunch and Learn that we have going on. So if you, you know, just reminding you to register for that. And then finally, you know, I'd like to extend my gratitude to our, you know, distinguished panelists, you know, Ruben Luna, Jane Ceroky, and Mark Clayton. You know, really, they've been overly generous with their time and experience that they've shared with us. You know, thank you for all that. You know, that's it for now. You know, really, thank you for joining us. Make it a great day. Always keep learning and have an awesome Tuesday. Bye for now.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Pratik.
Thank you.